No-go. They canceled at 9:30 yesterday morning. But we are going to talk with Dan Rather here in just a little bit, and we are going to talk. Mason Lewis will be with us this evening. Mason is out and about. So I've been working 16, 18-hour days along with Karen Kennedy in the KNUS news department. So we will talk to Mason from the field here in a while and do a little bit of Pope talk, bit of wrap-up on the Pope. Then Habitat for Humanities, we're going to talk with them. Actually, as soon as we come back from the first break, we'll talk with them quickly to see how they've finalized. Then Mason Lewis, then Dan Rather from, the Dan Rather from CBS Radio Network News. We're also waiting for a few other calls to some of the ABC, NBC, and CNN news people in town, as well as we have several calls into the president. We have had Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton on this radio show in the past, so they are in fact in the air right now over Oakland, California, but that's a 50-50. Maybe 25-50, 25-75, I don't know. Okay, also, later on in the program, we are going to have a Bill Thompson and Tom Kerwin, who are former priests. They will be here in studio. Joanna Manning, she's going to talk about clergy sexual abuse, and Bill Callahan, who's also a former priest, and that'll take us up to midnight. So a very interesting program coming up. But first of all, I want to think about, where are you at Mile High Stadium tonight? Let's talk about some of the things the Pope had to say, and his meeting with the president. And when we come back, we'll talk with Habitat for Humanities just to catch up on how they're doing with their houses. Then Mason Lewis, KNUS News and Program Director, will check in with Mason. He's been out and about at Mile High Stadium. I was down there myself, too. I'm Jann Scott, and this is KNUS, the all-new talk station right here in Denver.
So you're thinking about redecorating. Well, that's good, because all of those avocado appliances, they'll never die. You're going to have to kill them. And if you're looking for new ideas, well, here's one. Go to the Parade of Homes. Where they have all of those very lavish, go on forever a million bedrooms, jacuzzi in the powder room kind of homes, and steal some ideas. Very cheap. You would be so amazed at what you can learn in a place like this. I mean, until I went, I thought a bidet was a drinking fountain. That's so sad. Anyway, it's a big party with music, entertainment, lots of good food. And the way I see it, you pay your $6, you have a great time, and take away all the ideas your little head can carry. Let someone else pay the mortgage.
The Parade of Homes. All the fun, none of the payments. At Westwoods Ranch in Arvada. Open 10 to 8 daily, now through Labor Day. Get your tickets at the door, or save a buck at King Soopers.
Oh, and please, lose the swag lamp while you're at it. Thank you.
Hi, this is Mr. Fix-It Paul McGregor inviting you to join me for the Home Front Saturdays right here on 710, the all-new KNUS, and 1130, the all-new KHTH Dillon Breckenridge. We're here from 11 till 2. The show's called The Home Front, and we want to hear from you with your home improvement questions. Dr. Lon Gallup and some other great folks will be joining us this weekend, so make your plans to listen in. That's The Home Front, Saturdays, 11 till 2 on 710, the all-new KNUS Denver, and 1130, the all-new KHTH Dillon Breckenridge.
I got a hole in my soul this morning, and now the cold wind come blowing through.
The most eclectic nighttime talk radio show in Denver. Nearly 6 years experience in talk radio and talk TV. Join Jann Scott tonight right now by calling 935-7100 or long distance 1-800-533-0071.
59 degrees in Denver. Jann Scott with you till midnight tonight. A couple of other, that's going to be a few other temperatures. Of course, it's been raining. You would know that, wouldn't you? And these couldn't possibly be right. Never mind, I won't even read them. Okay. Just a quick little tornado warning that came in. Sheriff's dispatcher in Cheyenne County reported a tornado located near the junction of County Line Road 109 and Colorado 94. This is 30 miles southeast of Lyman. This storm is moving to the east and northeast at 15 miles per hour. So if you live out in the Lyman area, heads up tonight. You had let's see. This is a tornado that touched down. If you are in the path of a tornado, the safest place is a basement. Get under a workbench or a piece of sturdy furniture. If no basement is available, seek shelter in an interior room, such as a closet on the lowest floor. All right, so this is a tornado that did touch down 30 miles southeast of Lyman, and it's moving to the east right now. Okay, first off, we're going to talk with Mason Lewis in just a minute. He's out in the field, but let's go to Habitat for Humanities, Michelle Allen and Gaspar. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
How are you? Did you see the Pope today? No, you were building a house, weren't you?
Well, we saw it on TV.
You saw it on TV. So the houses are at 19th and
19th Avenue in Trenton.
and Trenton. Have you finished?
No, the exterior looks like we are finished, but no, we still have to do some work tomorrow. Our dedication finalizes it tomorrow at 4 p.m.
The dedication is finished tomorrow at 4 p.m. at Trenton and 19th. And these are homes that you build.
Right. Habitat for Humanity is a non-profit ecumenical organization that builds in partnership with low-income families. We build with families in need, and they go through an application process and then put in their 500 hours and then receive their home. And these people who are going to live in the 4 homes that we're building in 11 days have put in their 500 hours and still are, and we're moving their home tomorrow.
This is not a giveaway program.
Not at all.
And here's a letter. Here's a letter we got in today. It says, "Dear Jan, wonderful show tonight. Habitat for Humanity is such a good organization. If only the federal government and the president would think this way. People should work for what they get and pay for it instead of getting a recurring handout." And I can't read their last name, but this one came in just today. So there are people out there that like the work you guys are doing.
Good.
Yeah. I'll tell you, Republicans like it because it's not a giveaway program, and Democrats like it because, it does some good for some of the disadvantaged people.
Well, I have to run. We have a jammed night tonight, so let's tell everybody to go to the 4 houses that you've built at
19th Avenue in Trenton.
19th Avenue in Trenton, and if they want to go by anytime tomorrow during the day, they can see what you're doing. If people want to contact Habitat for Humanities, how can they do that?
Our number is 292-4114. And we're going to be building after this, of course.
You will. Here in Denver?
Here in Denver.
Are you building a home in Evergreen?
We do. Habitat does have a affiliate in Evergreen. Yeah.
They're just starting the first home there.
Yeah, they just
Thanks.
opened up.
I have to run. Thank you. Good talking
Thank you
to
very much.
both of you.
Well, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, now, we've got Mason Lewis is out in the field this evening, and Pope Talk coming up, 935-7100, folks. Mason?
Hi, Jan. Before we get started, I was curious, what's this bill on my desk for Dan Rather voice impersonator?
No, this is actually the real Dan Rather. Well,
Yeah, the real Dan Rather.
the real Dan Rather from CBS, Evening
What,
News.
Channel 12 or...
No. We're going to have him, he'll be here with us, and just as soon as, in fact, right after you and I finish, and once we're going to talk a little bit about Pope Talk. So no, that's for real. And tomorrow we're having Patricia Ireland on, chairperson for NOW, president of National Organization for Women. Are you still there?
What do you want me to do, start clapping? I can if you want me to. Okay, hold on a second, ready?
Okay. Here, the sound of
I'm driving a car, too.
Don't crash the car. Tonight I stopped at Mile High Stadium on the way to the show. I listened to the Pope on KNUS and also heard the Italian translation. And I stopped at Mile High Stadium, and it was so quiet there. There were 100,000 people. I went into the stadium. The cops were just kind of taking. I thought it would be like a Bronco game. Everyone was relaxed. The policemen had smiles on their faces. It was like this. It was like everyone was. It was very peaceful.
Well, I think most of the participants were probably exhausted because the Pope was about 40 minutes behind schedule, a little bit late. And what he found out was that they were singing and dancing and everything, getting riled up. Then when he arrived, there was the big influx of excitement and screaming and yelling. And then they basically calmed down and listened to the Pope's speech, which went on. It was a longer speech. In fact, I was talking to the interpreters, and they were saying they had the prepared text in front of them. We had it faxed to us ahead of time so they could get an idea of what he was going to say in Italian. And apparently he cut out about half of what he was actually going to say. So things, they got a little tired, and I think most of the jubilation came when he started listing all 70 of the countries where participants were coming from. So there were some moments of excitement, but pretty much for the most part, well-behaved, young, good Catholic boy and girl crowd.
Now, I know that KNUS, and I want to ask you about this a little bit. This is day one.
AM 710, the all-new
right.
KNUS.
KNUS is the official Italian station for Youth Day, with the Pope. And I know this place has just been, when I came here this evening, there was basically a full crew on. I mean, there were two Italian translators here. You were here. There were producers here. There were news people here. What?
Well, the exciting part about this, Jan, is AM 710, the all-new KNUS, is all-new. And in fact, we're the only radio station in the metro area that is giving and devoted complete coverage to all the events of World Youth Day. And, considering the station and what our format is, talk and news, no one else is providing that. And that is something exciting about being a part of our coverage, is that we have the capability of being able to bring this type of coverage. And like I said, it began on Wednesday, and it won't end until Sunday night.
Wait a minute. What do you mean nobody else is covering it the way we're covering it? What are we doing that other people are not doing?
We are covering every event. Many of the other radio stations in town are preemptive. They either have other broadcast commitments and are unable to provide the full coverage that we have and we are planning to cover. So that's real exciting.
Okay. So then, as an example, today, what did we cover? What did we cover today, and what are we going to cover tomorrow?
We had complete coverage today of the President, the Pope's arrival, their meeting at Regis University, the events surrounding that, and of course the welcome to the Pope celebration at Mile High Stadium. Tomorrow is pretty much a quiet day. We have coverage tomorrow morning of the Mass that Pope John Paul will be having with all of the bishops that are in town for that. That'll be at the Basilica. Then there are a bunch of community service projects, prayer meetings, liturgy sessions, kind of somewhat Bible studies for the participants most of the day. Yes, tomorrow. Tomorrow's also the day when Pope John Paul makes his retreat visit to St. Malo Retreat Center in Allens Park. That is closed to the public. It's pretty much closed to the media and the press.
He'll need it by then.
Yeah, definitely. And, he's planning on doing hiking and getting away from everything, and that's one of the reasons they picked St. Malo. And that is going to be very interesting to get some reaction after that happens tomorrow evening. Tomorrow evening is the Way of the Cross celebration at Mile High Stadium. That is considered a solemn event. It's not expected to be very high key. It is, for Catholics that understand the faith, it is the Stations of the Cross. It's a pretty solemn I'm trying to think, service is a good way of describing it, that Catholics follow, followed by a closing prayer, and then they basically shut down the tents. Lights out at 11 o'clock. Saturday is the day of the big pilgrimage. They will be gathering in Civic Center Park, which has been renamed Celebration Plaza, at about noon, 11:30 noon. They will all begin their march down to Cherry Creek State Park. Now, some are going to take the 15-mile trek from downtown to Cherry Creek. Others will board buses and then take those down to the area where about 2 or 3 miles from Cherry Creek, and they will walk in from there. So 160,000 gathering. They'll walk to Cherry Creek State Park. We'll have updates from myself, Karen Kennedy, and we also will be talking with a gentleman who will be on one of the buses shuttling the kids, and he'll be able to talk with them via the phone. And then they'll have a Mass tomorrow evening at Cherry Creek State Park. Saturday evening. And, of course, Sunday morning, big major open-air Mass at Cherry Creek State Park. So
I don't
a lot
think
of coverage here on AM 710, the all-new KNUS.
I don't think that people realize the kind of crew that it takes to cover a story like this. I mean, I notice we have, how big is it? I notice translators, producers, engineers, et cetera, et cetera. What kind of crew is KNUS using on Youth Day?
Well, we're using everybody, Jan, and that's the exciting part about KNUS is we don't have the news staff of 20, 30 people. We don't have, 6 producers for every talk show host.
It sure looks like
4 for you, but we don't have 6 for everybody else.
Yeah.
And so what we've done is everybody has pitched in, all the way from the people that are trying to buy the radio station, the Martishanks, to the janitor. I mean, everybody has pitched in to do what they can to help, and that's what kind of makes this kind of exciting, fun coverage for us.
Well, I'm going to let you go and get some sleep. It's good talking to you. And ladies and gentlemen, Mason Lewis, news director and program director for KNUS, the all-new.
No. Yeah, that's AM 710, the all-new KNUS.
AM 710, the all-new KNUS.
There you go.
Talk radio.
Practice it. Say it in the shower. Say it in the bathtub, whatever you do.
Good.
Well, I guess it's the bathtub because you don't have any hair to wash, but... Ooh, sorry, didn't mean to...
Good to talk to you
this
evening and get a good night's sleep. You can tell he's half dingy.
I'm half dingy?
I thought you were gone.
I hired you, now I think that would be a full dingy.
Sir, now, I mean, you haven't had much sleep, have you?
No, actually I haven't. But that's okay. That's what's exciting.
Okay. We'll listen to you tomorrow morning, Ken Hamlin Show.
I'll be there.
The live update coverage starts again. Thank you.
You bet, Jen.
Good talking to you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a break now, and then when we come back, we're going to talk with Ken. Also, I want to talk to you about, did you go to Mile High Stadium this evening? What did you think of what the Pope had to say? How did you like his meeting with the President? His special mention of the Native Americans. We'll continue this talk on KNUS. I'm Jann Scott.
What's it like to eat at the old spaghetti factory? That's a tough one. I could tell you how great the food is. The spaghetti with the different kinds of sauces, lasagna and fettuccine alfredo, all complete dinners with salad, fresh bread, beverage, and dessert. Or I could describe the elegant atmosphere with the antiques and cut glass and lots of wood. Or I could talk about the price, which is less than you'd spend going to see a movie, whether it was good or not. I could tell you all that, but you still wouldn't know what it's like to eat at the old spaghetti factory. It's like trying to describe the Grand Canyon to someone who's never seen it. You'd be better off telling them to go see for themselves. It's worth the trip. And so is the old spaghetti factory, and it's a lot closer. The old spaghetti factory is 2 blocks north of Tabor Center at 18th and Lawrence. So check out the old spaghetti factory for yourself. You don't need reservations, and they don't take them anyway. The old spaghetti factory. You have to try this place.
Quit smoking? No problem. I've done it many times before. Staying off cigarettes was the problem. Hi, my name is Rick Greenlee. I'm 42 years old, and I've smoked a pack and a half of cigarettes a day for the past 28 years. My reasons for quitting were, of course, my health, but more importantly, the health of my loved ones. Today, and for the past 14 months, I'm happy to say that I'm an ex-smoker, with the help that I received from Lee Rinder.
Do you want to stop smoking with no withdrawal, without gaining weight, and without the harmful side effects of the patch? I'm Lee Rinder, certified clinical hypnotherapist and master NLP practitioner with over 20 years of experience. I stopped smoking and simultaneously lost 66 pounds using the same clinical hypnosis that I'll teach you. Call me at 979-5498 to lose weight, stop smoking, or make other changes. That's Lee Rinder, certified clinical hypnotherapist and master NLP practitioner at 979-5498.
Tom Jensen here.
Karen Kennedy here.
Together with Jim Turner, we walk on the edge Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 6.
That's the name of our show, The Edge. It's talk, it's news, weather, traffic, and sports.
It's also hit and get, comment of the day, and whatever else we can get away with.
So catch the edge, go over the edge, or just get on the edge with us every weekday afternoon from 3 to 6.
On AM 710, the all-new KNUS, and AM 1130, the all-new KHTH Dillon Breckenridge.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome back to Talk Radio, Jann Scott in his old and born-again new time slot, 9 to midnight, here on KNUS. Talk with Jann now at 935-7100 or statewide toll-free 1-800-533-0071.
Okay, in Boulder it's 65 degrees, Greeley 66, La Junta 74, Trinidad 67, Pueblo 70 degrees, Colorado Springs 63, Lyman, thunder and lightning out there and raining 58 degrees. Also, there's a tornado watch in the Lyman area. Let me see, Buckley Field 64 degrees and showers, Denver Stapleton International Airport 64. Aspen, 65 degrees. Rifle, Colorado, 72 degrees. Durango, 73. Hayden, Colorado, 71 degrees. What else do we have here? Tonight, mostly clear, lows in the low to mid-60s. Friday, mostly sunny and isolated afternoon thunderstorms. High in the low 90s tomorrow. West winds 10 to 20 miles an hour, so there you have it. What else do I have here? I'm going to just keep you up to date, ladies and gentlemen, on any radical weather that seems to be developing, and we've had a bit of it this evening already out east. Okay, so now talking about the Pope's visit at Mile High Stadium and here in the city. What did you think? Did you go? I really enjoyed it. I was just blown away. I watched the Pope meet the president and talk with him, and kind of spent the afternoon, in front of all the different TV stations and different radio stations, but mostly going between 7, 4, and 9, and watch that. Did you do that? And were you out at City? Were you out at Civic Center today? Were you at Mile High Stadium? Were you on the street? What did you think? I have to tell you, I was truly touched by what took place. And what really blew me away is when I stopped down at Mile High Stadium and walked in before I came here and watched the Pope for a while talk, and how peaceful it was, and how well-behaved the crowd were. The police were in great shape. Everybody was in good shape. 935-7100. Incidentally, in a little bit, Dan Rather from CBS Evening News will be with us. Okay, let's go talk with Ken. So you're disappointed, Ken?
No, I enjoyed it all.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking?
Yeah, sure. We're talking.
Okay. But I was a little disappointed in Rocky Mountain News here, where they got the mass for 100,000. That's staged for Pope Clinton. And they got Clinton capitalized, and the Pope is little letters.
Mm-hmm. That's
this Thursday morning newspaper.
Is it on the front page?
Yeah.
With the nun on the front page, is that right? Mm-hmm.
Pardon?
Yeah, that's today's paper with
yeah.
Mass
for 100,000. That's for stage for Pope Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
well,
Pope's here. That's to me, that's a big thing. Clinton's a goddamn. Well, he's doing his thing, but Pope's been around for a hell of a long time. A lot of people here.
Yeah, you're a pretty cheerful guy.
Oh.
I think you need to get some holy water splashed on you or something, man. Huh? You need to buy. You must be. Huh? Did you? Why? You should go and see him. Are you going to go and see the Pope?
I'd like to, but I don't know if I can make it up through the crowd.
Yeah, it was pretty easy tonight. I mean, I didn't have too hard of a time. So you didn't think too much of their talk. I thought it was a momentous occasion.
Oh, I loved it.
The president. No, listen. The president meeting the Pope was really, really terrific. I thought that was great. The Pope was very diplomatic too. One of the things that he said was. He kept pointing the direction of everyone toward Jesus. The other thing that he said is all Christians are of the same faith. That he sort of wrapped the entire body of Christ. Did you hear what he said? I realize that we have Christians of different faiths here, but we're all really one. Did you like that, or did you not like that?
That's fine.
That's fine with you?
Yep.
I thought that was good.
I was a crying son of a gun.
You were?
Yes.
Oh, well, there you go. I think a lot of people were touched.
Did not justify. You know what I'm saying?
They didn't. I understand that, and I really don't have any comment on it. I didn't even notice it. To me, to have the President of the United States and the Pope to sit down, and the Pope was certainly generous. Did you listen or watch his remarks? I
watched the whole thing.
Yeah, I've been glued to the TV all day long. I haven't spent this much time in front of the television. The last time I think was the San Francisco earthquake, or maybe the invasion of
But I come
Iraq.
home and look in the newspaper, and they've got Clinton capitalized, and the Pope.
All right, give it up.
I give it up.
Give it up, Ken. All right, good talking to you. Thank you.
Okay, buddy.
935-7100. We're going to have some folks on later on in the program. Tom Kerwin is with the Catholic. It's called CORE, Catholic Organizations for Renewal, and then Bill Thompson is going to be with us. Call to Action. Joanna Manning, she's with the Coalition of Concerned Canadian Catholics. Wow. And then Father Bill Callahan, Catholics Speak Out. They will be with us here later on in the evening. Also Dan Rather coming up in a little bit, but I wanted to just see what your feelings and your thoughts were on, well, the Pope being here, his meeting with President Clinton. What did you think of that? The feeling in the air. Can you feel it? Is it just me? I went down to Mile High Stadium. It was like the whole place was on LSD. It was unbelievable. I mean, it was like the Holy Spirit had descended over the entire city, and that there was an incredible amount of calming and healing, it seemed to me. Ken, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
Well, I thought it was. I think the feeling around town is just fantastic. I love all the tourists and everything, and I get to talk to a few of them. But the reason I called is I saw one strange T-shirt downtown, and it says, "I like the Pope. The Pope smokes dope," and it shows the Pope sparking a joint. Is that true?
I doubt it.
Well, they said it was made by Catholics, and but they said I really doubt it very seriously. But I don't know how they can get away with stuff like that.
Well, I mean, let's take a look at the Fox. The Fox has been blaspheming and insulting the Pope since it was announced that he would be here for World Youth Day. You know, the Fox radio station.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they've been doing that ever since he arrived. Look at Father Guido Sarducci. You know.
Oh, I love that guy.
You know. So I think the Pope, in all sincerity, is high on Jesus.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that.
You know, that's what's going on with the guy. And I think that a person would have to have had a major spiritual awakening in their life, or have had some sort of transformational experience, or a major peak experience, or a religious experience of one variety or another, to fully understand where the Pope is at. I think he's way higher than drugs. He did what Ken Kesey once talked about but never did himself, and that is the Pope's beyond drugs.
Well, that's an interesting concept.
Yeah, I would say to be high on Christ is to be high without a hangover the next day of any type.
Oh, well, for those people that are here in town that listen to your show, I appreciate your being here, and you're doing a really good job.
You think so? All right.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, Ken. Bye. Did I denote more than a note of sardonism in Ken's voice? Somehow, I have that feeling. Now, 935-7100. What did you think about his meeting with President Clinton? Did you notice his talking? He really had a direction toward Jesus. He kept talking that talk. Really, you know, I never really thought much about the Pope. I mean, I know that he's Polish and he's spoken many different languages. I was really impressed. I was equally as impressed with him as I am with Billy Graham. Sometimes I'm troubled by the Catholic Church and some of its tenets, but the Pope John Paul II really had a good effect on me today. He seemed like a very honest, humble, caring, even humorous sort of man. You know, because I don't know, he seemed in a good way. And I was not ready for this. I mean, I was being a little cynical before he got here. I'm like, well, okay, I guess. Maybe, but I have to tell you, I was truly touched, and have been for most of the day. How about you, Dave? Dave, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, sir. What are you?
Well, Jan, like you, I was kind of blasé about this whole thing until last night. I watched the Mass on TV, and I got to tell you,
Now, which Mass was that?
I was very touched by everything.
Oh, the Mass in Mexico?
No, the Mass last night here in Denver.
Okay, I didn't see it because I was on the air.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, you saw a lot of well-behaved people, very spiritual people, and it's a very touching thing for a person who doesn't get touched by very many things these days. But I do have to make a comment about Bill Clinton here. Mm-hmm. You may disagree with this, but I don't know. I think the presence of Bill Clinton at this event is completely out of place and inappropriate.
He's the President of the United States. He is the leader of the most powerful, and in fact, the Pope said that when he talked about, you know, when he was speaking at the airport. Yeah, I mean, he made it very, very clear, and he recognized and honored the man who is the President of the United States, the man who is the President. See, let's put it this way: he honored the office of the presidency. You know, that's something that Richard Nixon demanded, and George Bush certainly demanded. Bill Clinton is a little bit more kicked back about it, but I think the Pope had no doubt in his mind that he realized that America is unbelievably powerful. We are the world leader. We are the world leader now. We are the only superpower left, and you know, like it or not, Bill Clinton is running the show. And I think in a lot of ways, personally, I'm going to let you finish your thought there. But see, I think we need to get behind the president. Everybody really needs to do that. We need to, one, pray for the president, and two, you know, really support him. I think to try to tear the president down is to try to destroy the presidency itself, and I think that's very dangerous. And I have, ever since President Reagan, I've always supported the president. Always. Reagan, Bush, did not matter. I just, you know, we need to support our president. But go ahead.
Yes, I could finish my thought. I agree with you. I think that the presidency is an office that should be respected.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to KNUS today, and I heard a report that the Pope had given President Clinton a Bible, and I kind of chuckled to myself because I thought, gee, maybe he ought to turn to the Ten Commandments first of all, and read about what they say about adultery and lying and things like that. I don't know. I just think there's just a little bit of taint there.
I'm sure the president reads the Bible. I'm sure that he goes to a Baptist church.
Well, do you think that's genuine, or do you think that's for show?
No, I think it's genuine.
Do you really? I think it's. I think that guy is just all show, and
I think it's as genuine as George Bush was. I think that once a man gets into the president, do you believe in God?
Yes, I do.
And do you pray?
Yes, on occasion I do.
Okay. Well, think about it. If you were in an office, put yourself in his position for a second. Let's put Dave in. Dave is suddenly the president. You know, what most men or women in that role are going to go, man, I need a higher power than myself to help me run this office. And I think that men who become presidents, including Richard Nixon, are truly humbled by the office, and they in all sincerity, call upon God's help. I don't think that there's, no matter even with Rush Limbaugh's attack on Bill Clinton, I think that Limbaugh is way, way off, and I think that and Hamlin too. I really question as to whether or not they are men of God. I doubt that they are. Hamlin certainly isn't, and Limbaugh, I bet Limbaugh's got more skeletons in his closets that one would hate to shake out.
Well, I don't think either of them are particularly religious, but I do think that they hold some values, religious or otherwise, that just some moral values that they say are not being represented by the government of this country.
Bill Clinton's going to make some mistakes, but I think that we all need to hold out and perhaps even pray, if you do pray, that he's guided by God. He darn well better be.
Well, I hope so.
And we want to make sure that his mental health is in good shape,
I certainly hope that he is, but I got to tell you that I'm a little dubious. Mm-hmm. We have seen what he's done. I mean, he has lied to the American people. He has committed adultery. He has done.
Well, that's not proven. We don't know. We know nothing about that. I could not find any evidence to the fact that Bill Clinton is an adulterer. And I'll tell you something. I've interviewed Bill Clinton 2 times and Hillary Clinton, and both on camera and off camera, on mic and off mic. And I just don't see that the evidence, the hard evidence is there.
Well, that's certainly debatable, and I'm not going to sit here in moral judgment of the man.
Yeah, and even if he did, so what? I mean, that's another side of the coin. I mean, look at all the stuff they throw at Roy Romer or George Bush or Ronald Reagan or Nancy Reagan and Frank Sinatra. I mean, we could go on with this nonsense forever, and that's
Well, no one is certainly perfect, but I just think that there's something missing there in this man that he's kind of shallow, and there's no backbone or character or moral presence there that we expect.
I totally disagree with you on this completely. I see that. I think you really need to think about this.
Well,
over
I
the
know
next
you
couple
disagree,
of days.
Jan, but I'd be interested in what your listeners think on this, whether I'm in the minority or the majority. I'd love to hear.
All right.
But thanks for giving me the chance to vent myself.
You need to pray, Dave. Spend a little bit more time with the Lord and a little less time with Rush Limbaugh. I'm Jann Scott, and this is the talk station, KNUS in Denver.
Denver Jeep Eagle's downtown location. Now, there's a different kind of a place to take your car. They can handle the biggest service problem your car or truck might have. A new engine, a rebuild, transmission problems, doesn't matter how big. But what makes them different is yet another philosophy. They also major in minor things. They major in minor things. Electrical problems, a darn good tune-up, or how about a thorough detailing? They have a few rules at Denver Jeep Eagle, but they're all in your favor. For instance, you'll be treated with absolute courtesy. Your service work will be performed with genuine expertise and professionalism, and priced fairly. You'll even be delivered to work in the downtown area, and they also offer, of course, a huge rental fleet at discount prices, and an amazing variety of top-flight used cars. Denver Jeep Eagle, downtown, at 1330 West Alameda, 871-0305. You're gonna love them.
Looking for that dream home or enjoy looking? Join Paul McGregor this Saturday, August 14th, for a special edition of Homefront from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Parade of Homes at Westwoods Ranch in Arvada. On AM 710, the all-new KNUS, and AM 1130, the all-new KHTH Dillon Breckenridge.
Hi, this is Mr. Fix-It Paul McGregor, inviting you to join me for the Homefront Saturdays right here on 710, the all-new KNUS, and 1130, the all-new KHTH Dillon Breckenridge. We're here from 11 till 2. The show's called The Homefront, and we want to hear from you with your home improvement question. Dr. Lon Gallup and some other great folks will be joining us this weekend, so make your plans to listen in. That's The Homefront, Saturdays, 11 till 2 on 710, the all-new KNUS Denver, and 1130, the all-new KHTH Dillon Breckenridge.
You never know where to find Jann Scott at night. Sometimes he's in a coffee house or an upscale restaurant. Other times on the street, in a gang neighborhood, or on a Colfax Avenue bus. But wherever he is, you can always find him 9 to midnight weeknights on AM 710 KNUS. You can talk to Jann right now by phoning him at 935-7100 or 1-800-533-0071.
Okay, in about 5 minutes, we're going to have Dan Rather. And then what else are we going to do? We have a bunch of people who are former priests and folks like that. We're going to talk about some of the concerns of the Catholic Church later on this. So these people have come in from all over the country, and this will be an interesting second 2 hours. First, we'll go and talk with Hannah. Hi, Hannah in Denver. You're on the air with Jann Scott on KNUS.
Hi there.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. What's up?
Oh, I have never seen so many people with so much honesty and sincerity as I did those people on TV with the World Youth Day.
Yeah.
Including the Pope and Mr. Clinton.
Absolutely. It was touching. It was great.
I've never seen anybody with so many people, sincere people, honest.
And it's just begun. It's going to start tomorrow morning. The president's coming back tomorrow. We have a call into the president again, and I don't know if we'll have him on the show or not, but if he appears on any radio program in Denver, it'll be this one.
But you know what? I think the presidency is the highest office in this nation, and I think we all should respect that.
Absolutely.
And respect the person. Whether I like Mr. Bush or not, I loved his family. I never said anything bad about Mr. Bush or Mr. Reagan.
No, I see. The very same thing happened to me. I changed somewhere around 1980 or so, and it just dawned on me as a mature adult that I have a responsibility to support the President of the United States, to pray for him, and the same thing with the Congress people.
That's so sweet of you. God's going to bless you. Huh?
Well, it's absolutely true. We all have to do that, don't we?
That's true, very true. And prayer, people don't understand, prayer changes a lot.
It does.
And I heard the gentleman a minute ago saying that he pray occasionally. He should pray, and his prayers will be answered, and I'm not kidding you.
Yeah, this is a time,
Uh-huh.
this is a spiritual awakening here, and the Pope has brought it. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind, and perhaps in a lot of ours, that the Lord's absolutely followed him to Denver. I mean, all you had to do is drive by Mile High Stadium tonight, and the change has come over this city.
And that's true. People, even people are nicer. The people on the street are nicer.
Yeah.
And it's just wonderful. I'm so happy. You know, I had just gotten so depressed because I've heard so many negative things about the president, and so much has been going on around here lately.
Well, there's so many people that have
today, I just something when I was sitting there looking at the show on Channel 9, and the Pope spoke, and some of the kids, you know, were interviewed a little bit. They had little comments. Something just went through my body, and I woke up. You know what I said?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not gonna listen to any more talk shows,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to feel like those little kids. Aren't they honest? Didn't they look just so?
They were great. The kids are wonderful. And, you know, the Pope loves the children especially. And, you know, if you read the Bible tells you that Jesus, you know, he loved children. They were the closest to his heart.
Right.
And, you know, something else that really strikes me is the respect. In this country, somehow, in the past 2 or 3 years, we have really learned to disrespect our elected servants. You know, our elected officials.
We put them there. People voted, and Mr. Clinton got the majority of the votes, and that's why he's there.
That's right.
Somebody like him. And I think it's just Republicans are bad losers. That's what it is. Because I've never seen so much negative things go on around in this country before in all my life. It just makes everybody feel bad.
Well, keep listening to me, Hannah, and I won't let you down. I got to go. Thank you for your call.
Okay. Bye.
All right, bye. Now, let's do this. Lane, if you hang in here with me. We're going to go to this conversation Dan Rather and I had here just a little bit ago. Are we ready to go now? All right. Okay, is this on? Hello, Lane. Okay. All right. We're going to go. Here's a conversation Dan Rather and I had a little earlier this evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's just welcome Dan Rather from CBS Evening News to KNUS. Dan, welcome to Denver, and welcome to Talk Radio tonight.
Well, Jan, very glad to be with you. Thanks.
Thanks. You know, here in Denver, we've had a big problem this summer with drive-by shootings, increased gang activity. We've had, in some nights, as many as 4 drive-by shootings. And I know that you've been traveling around the country. You just came from Chicago, where you've been working on a story on gangs and drive-by shootings. Is that right?
That's true. We're doing a 48 hours in September. I don't have an air date, but in September we're doing an hour for 48 hours on this, and that's what I was in Chicago working on, and I have been in some other cities. I know that this problem has been on the increase in Denver, and I wish I had some good news for you, but I don't. I think it's fairly clear that this kind of thing is on the upswing and in the increase in most big cities, if not all, in the country, and there's no end to it in sight that I can see.
One of the things that I've been focusing on, this is an area that I've worked in, drugs and gangs and violence for the past 20 years, but one of the areas that I've been looking at are marches, reclaiming neighborhoods, citizen patrols, the truest form of vigilantism, without guns or, without violence, but parents and children and seniors patrolling working class neighborhoods, to try to talk to kids and to reclaim neighborhoods and to stop the violence on the street. Any thoughts on that, or have you been seeing that going on anywhere around the country?
I have seen it around the country from one place to another, and most of the time it's effective. It's certainly effective up to a point, and that point generally is if a big-time drug operation exists in the neighborhood, it's very hard for even organized individuals from the neighborhood or from any place else for that matter to weed them out without considerable law enforcement help. The only other point I would make is that even where it's successful, the question then rapidly becomes, what is there for the young people to do besides join a gang or, get a gun and get in the drug business? And this is why a lot of it, in my opinion, comes down to creating jobs. A lot of people are tired of hearing that, I suppose, but I came out of some of the meanest streets of Chicago saying to myself, until and unless we can find a way to put young people to work doing something on a paying job,
problems. Now, that's not to say that the whole issue of handgun control isn't a major factor here. The losing the drug war, which we are, you and I know the reality of it, we are still losing. All of those things also come into play.
If I'm not mistaken, in 1963, did you cover the race wars in Harlem, the riots in Harlem for CBS Radio?
I did. Basically covered the civil rights movement in the South in 1962 and 63, but in the riot situations in Harlem, I was pulled up in New York, and yes, I did cover that.
What do you see that's different now from, what's going on in, predominantly the black and Hispanic community with the violence of today and the violence of, the 1960s?
Well, the violence today is much more widespread and on a more continuing basis. Let's hark back for a second. In the early 1960s, you would have a flare-up. It would flare into the open for a few hours, maybe even a few days, and then it would be tamped back down, sometimes for a very long while. Now, one, the availability of guns is greater now than it was then. Some people would argue that, but I think it's a fact that guns are much more available. The drug tide had not engulfed the country at that time, and the violence was less. It was of a smaller order and less long-lasting.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing because, during that time period, in those years, Watts burned, Detroit burned, Harlem burned. But I guess unlike South Central Los Angeles, it exploded here a few years ago. I want to switch to television violence. And being an anchor, on the CBS Evening News, one would think that you would have a lot of influence over CBS and even its practices, like on the Sunday night movie, et cetera, et cetera. Can you influence the network, to say, can you sit down with the president of the network and the producers and say, hey, look, guys, television gun violence is leading to violence in our streets. Can we, let's do something about this. Let's lead the way.
The fact is I can and I do, partly because the president of the CBS network happens to be a person who came up through news. He was once the executive producer of the Evening News. He was once the president of CBS News, Howard Stringer. And Stringer, however it may appear from the outside, look, he's not the personification of all that's saintly and heavenly, but he's interested in the subject, he cares about the subject, and we've talked about it many times over the years. The real question, the more important question is, why can't the president of a network, a whole television network, do more about it? And that's something that I know that Howard Stringer and others at his level, high above my level, have a good deal of angst about. Part of their answer is that the competitiveness of the business, the competitiveness of prime time, drives them to put things on the air that they themselves are sometimes uncomfortable with. Quite frankly, I don't think that answer is acceptable to the public, nor do I think it should be. But in our network, and I do not think we're alone in this, there are people at the top who care about it and who are trying to change it. I do agree with the criticism that if things have not moved quickly enough, it should be read as an excuse. But the reality is this: if he and others are afraid to do that because they're fearful that the ratings will go down. Most things in television get down to ratings, and unfortunately this one does. They fear that their ratings will go down. If the ratings go down to stay down, they'll be out of work. And the fear factor, the competitive fear factor, should not be underestimated here.
Yeah, I understand that. It seems that maybe they could say, okay, we're going to try it for a week. We'll see how we do. It's like an alcoholic. You tell an alcoholic, just don't drink today. Try it for 90 days. If it doesn't get better, we'll refund your misery. You can go back out and start drinking again.
I happen to think that's a very good idea. And I also happen to think that it would work. I think that if you could get that done, that everybody would be surprised at how little we would miss all the violence.
See, you think that would work?
I do.
All right. Because it's a common sense kind of thing, isn't it?
Yes, and that's probably the reason it hasn't been tried. It's too commonsensical.
Well, Dan Rather, thanks for taking some time out of your busy schedule here in Denver. Now, you did the CBS Evening News from Denver tonight?
We did.
And are you here tomorrow, or are you leaving?
I am here part of tomorrow. I'm working on a 2-hour documentary about the John Kennedy assassination, and I have some work I have to do on that back in New York late tomorrow and over the weekend. But I'll spend part of the day here tomorrow and then break off to go back to New York.
Okay. Well, Well, thanks very much for visiting us here in Denver and on KNUS. And if you ever need a drug fighter or gang fighter on CBS, you know who to call.
Jan, thank you very much. Good to have been with you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Oh, that's the conversation we had with Dan Rather just before we went on the air. Now we go to CNN for the CNN Radio Network News. And, in fact, if you have any comments on Dan Rather or that conversation, we'll take your calls right after the news, and then we'll carry on talking with Tom Kerwin, Bill Thompson, Catholic Organizations for Renewal, and also Call to Action. 935-7100. I'm Jann Scott, and this is the talk station, KNUS, AM 710, here in Denver.
All the flavors linger on. You'll love our potpourri of history. Old Spaghetti Factory. Every smile on every face is in good company. Everyone is having fun, so bring the family. Could there really ever be a more delightful place to eat? The answer to your fantasy. The Old Spaghetti Factory.
Try an Old Spaghetti Factory family dinner. You'll get fresh bread, salad, a delicious spaghetti dinner, beverage, and dessert for about $5 per person. So get away from the television and the telephone and have dinner with your family at the Old Spaghetti Factory, downtown at 18th and Lawrence.
Could there really ever be a more delightful place to eat? The answer to your fantasy.
You have to try this place.
The Old Spaghetti Factory.
CPA, MD, JD, what do these designations have in common? They all indicate someone has special training and expertise in a given profession. However, there are two more you should look for when selecting life and health insurance, planning for retirement, or managing your wealth. CLU and CHFC. What do these designations mean to you? CLU indicates your insurance representative has been granted status as a chartered life underwriter, while CHFC marks a chartered financial consultant.
About a week. From the CNN News Center, I'm Pat St. Clair.
Well, you've called and written and begged and complained, but like him or love him, Jann Scott's off weekends and back on 9 to midnight here on KNUS. You can talk with Jann right now, 935-7100. Or Fort Collins, Greeley, Colorado Springs, everywhere long distance statewide. It's toll free at 1-800-533-0071.
Okay, back here, 6 minutes after 10 o'clock in the Mile High City. Couple things. The Dan Rather interview you just heard here a few minutes ago. Any reactions to that? 935-7100. I'll take those right now. Now, one of the things that we're going to do here tonight and tomorrow night is kind of do some alternative programming to what's been going on with Youth Day here in Colorado. If you noticed, yesterday we had on the people from the Freedom from Religion organization. They were a little goofy. Then earlier in the week we had on Planned Parenthood and right-wing, homophobic, anti-choice religious nut Bob Enyart was on with Planned Parenthood, and we talked about the terrorist activities of Operation Rescue. I mean, beyond, we didn't even discuss the issue of abortion. We just talked about here's a group of terrorists. So it's tonight, and this is with all due respect to the Pope being in town, to the President, and to Catholics citywide. We're having some people in who shed a different light, an alternative light, on the church, and on maybe what needs to be done, maybe not. Certainly open for discussion. So, one of the groups that we have with us is a Catholic Organization for Renewal. Tom Kerwin is here with us this evening, and also Bill Thompson is with Call to Action. So, first of all, gentlemen, welcome to the program tonight, both of you. You have to talk real close to these microphones.
Good evening, and thanks for having us.
Hi.
Thanks.
And you're Tom.
Right.
You're Bill.
Right.
Would you tell us? Tell us your. I'll start with you. Or, okay. I'll start with you, Bill. Who are you?
Who am I?
And give me your give me your life story in a nutshell.
Okay. In a nutshell, I'm a 55-year-old guy out of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I spent 13 years as a Roman Catholic priest, and I wanted, like a lot of priests back at that time and even today, to have a wife and family. So I told my church I would like to continue to be a priest, but I'm not called to this celibacy thing, and so they gave me an honorable discharge in those days. This was 1976. I got married, and so I've made my living outside the priesthood, but I still believe in all the same stuff that I worked on as a priest.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the last 7 years now, I'm working for an organization out of Chicago, Call to Action. We have 10,000 members around the country, and we're trying to keep alive the idea of the church that we thought was doing rather well before this Pope John Paul II came along and decided to turn the clock back to a day when people were supposed to kind of keep in their place and let the Pope tell them what to do and what to think.
The Pope turned the clock back.
That's
the Pope turned the clock back.
For Catholics, this Pope, his agenda is that most of the changes that have occurred in the Roman Catholic Church since the Vatican Council, which ended in 1965, have gone too far, have gone too fast, and have been counterproductive. And he yearns for a return to the kind of church that he knew growing up in Poland in 2 generations ago, where the clergy were held pretty much as a separate caste, where people's respect for the clergy meant that a father knows best. And he doesn't take a very positive view of the idea that the whole church is the people of God and that everybody in the church has something to say. But that's the sort of thing that was going on in the Catholic Church, and he is trying to re-centralize authority and re-centralize decision-making.
How about this? How about that you're really angry that you became a priest at a young age, and you did it for long enough, and you said, that's it, man. You know, if I don't get laid, I'm going to go crazy, and I'd like to have a family on top of it. So you dropped out of the church, got married, had a family, and continue your work as a layman, but wishing that you were a priest. Now I'll give you a flip side of that. I had on who's the Playboy, the priest that went from Playboy to priest. He was on Channel 12 today. He's English. And he became a priest in his 40s, and I had him on my show over on Channel 38, which is a Catholic station over in Aurora, and we were talking, and he said, guys like you, I'm 47 years old. He said, you're at the right age to become a priest now, and I'm like, get out of town.
Had you worried, huh?
Well, no, but there are a lot of men that are around our age that are executives, retiring or in their 40s, that are becoming priests. I mean, they've been married or they've been divorced, or they've had all the sex they possibly. In fact, they probably I don't know, whatever. Maybe they can't have any more sex. I don't know. But like older men, the idea to have young men called into the priesthood is there's a switch in the Catholic Church right now. They're trying to get older men to come in with more life experience.
May I comment? And
yeah,
I don't see much anger in my friends like Bill, and there are many of them who decided that their vocation was more to a married life, and they want to continue to combine it and someday they will. Obviously, there's no question a church can't continue to function if it doesn't have any priests, and if it rejects both women and people who want to be married. That leaves such a small percentage of people it can't work. But it's not an angry thing, it's a hopeful thing. And all of our people are active participants. They're not sour grapes people. They see this church as having a future back in line with what it was a generation ago when Pope John the 23rd was the convener of this Vatican Council. And in fact, our local group, of which I was a founder, is called Catholics for the Spirit of Vatican II. And all of these coalition of renewal groups are pushing in one way or another, you have your list there, for a resurgence of that spirit of renewal.
No, incidentally, Tom, what's your story? You're from Denver, right?
Yeah, I am now. I was raised in Chicago, as Bill was, except the big thing is he was a Sox fan and I was a Cubs fan. That's a bigger battle than you see in the church today.
Are you both Irish?
Yes.
Yeah, both Irish.
Yes.
How would I know that?
But although I look it, I've never been in the seminary or been a priest. I have had 9 children, and I'm a lawyer in Denver, moved out here in 1960, and have been interested in renewal. But as Bill knows, the church is a great big family with all kinds of different approaches. My own family has diversions on this, and that's true both in my brothers and sisters' generation and in my own kids. And the church is kind of like that, like in the Civil War. But we believe that it's not only our privilege but our duty to speak up on these subjects. And I think it makes a lot of people in the hierarchy very nervous. But I have a vision about this.
Oh, you bet it does.
Yeah, sure it does. I have a vision about this World Youth Day thing, which I think maybe you need to know, or your listeners might be interested in.
Okay, save that thought.
I will.
We'll come back with your vision. We're going to take a break. Talking with Tom Kerwin. He's from Denver. Bill Thompson is a former priest. He's with Call to Action, and he's from Chicago. And we'll take your calls at 935-7100, 1-800-533-0071. And I'm Jann Scott, and this is KNUS.
Seem like I'm living mighty, mighty, mighty thin.
So you're thinking about redecorating. Well, that's good, you know, because all of those avocado appliances, they'll never die. You're going to have to kill them. And if you're looking for new ideas, well, here's one. Go to the Parade of Homes. You know where they have all of those very lavish, go on forever a million bedrooms, jacuzzi in the powder room kind of homes, and steal some ideas. Very cheap. You know, you would be so amazed at what you can learn in a place like this. I mean, until I went, I thought a bidet was a drinking fountain. That's so sad. Anyway, it's a big party with music, entertainment, lots of good food. And the way I see it, you pay your $6, you have a great time, and take away all the ideas your little head can carry. Let someone else pay the mortgage.
The Parade of Homes. All the fun, none of the payments. At Westwoods Ranch in Arvada. Open 10 to 8 daily, now through Labor Day. Get your tickets at the door, or save a buck at King Soopers.
Oh, and please, lose the swag lamp while you're at it. Thank you.
KNUS presents Egghead Computing Solutions Thursdays from 8 to 9 p.m., hosted by Richard Bates and Bob Cordes of Data Magic and Craig Bowie from Egghead Software. Egghead Computing Solutions, sponsored by Egghead Software, Thursdays 8 to 9 on AM 710, the all-new KNUS, and AM 1130, the all-new KHTH Dillon Breckenridge.
Hi, Denver. This is Ken Hamblin. I don't know if you know about me or what it is I do for a living. I talk to people, and I'm inviting you to join me. Now, you may have heard that I'm controversial. You'll have to decide that for yourself. I like to think of myself as honest. I'll never blue sky you. I'll never stroke you. I'll never cotton and yield to the absurd things that have become standard operational procedure in this culture. Join me, AM 710, the all-new KNUS, and AM 1130, the all-new KHTH Dillon Breckenridge.
Denver's only drive-by talk show host. It's Late Night with Jann Scott on KNUS. So shoot your mouth off with Jann at 935-7100, or from outside the metro area, it's 1-800-533-0071. And now back to Jann Scott Tonight.
Let's see, 16 minutes after 10 o'clock, Jann Scott with till midnight, talking about some alternative approaches to World Youth Day. You're holding an alternative conference today?
We knew that when this was announced to be coming to Denver, that there would be a lot of people who would come, and there was an opportunity to do some education. So we wrote the Pope. I took this letter to the local bishop, and he hand carried it to the Conference of Bishops. And I said, why don't you let us, the youth of our groups, have an audience with the Pope, only 20 minutes long when he comes here. And why don't you let us participate in the planning of the catechetical content? I said it'd be a great public relations coup for the Pope to do that. Well, it took 4.5 months to get the answer, which was what we expected, and the answer was no.
Yeah, but he came out and said today that he is encouraging conversation, on all sides of the issue. He said we're here to talk to the Pope's here, you to listen to the Pope, for me to listen to you.
But he doesn't listen to us.
And they explore the ideas.
He's not a good listener when he goes anywhere, and he hasn't listened to us. You'll find, can I give you my vision that I talked about before?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is kind of crude, but it's like a giant soap bubble here. Multicolored rainbow, and all the flags waving and the things we saw on the TV. But there's not an awful lot of real substance or resemblance to the church as it actually is in the United States. There have been polls taken. The papers are full of them now. The Gallup poll was taken a year ago. It showed that 80 to 85% of the people of the age, Catholics in the United States, disagree with the Pope on a whole range of these issues.
Right.
So they've taken, scrounged the country and the world to get the 7% who do agree with him.
Listen to what USA Today has to say here. Across town, Catholic Organizations for Renewal, a coalition of 33 dissident groups, held an alternative forum. They want abortion. Now, do you agree with this? 935-7100. Those of you who are Catholic, you better come out of the woodwork right now. All right? Do you agree with these things? You don't have to be Catholic. You can be Protestant. You can be atheist. You can be whatever you want to be. They want abortion rights, women priests, married priests, homosexual rights, and more democracy in the church, which the Pope has condemned or rejected in the strongest terms. These are quotes now. The message to the Pope is, don't see us as an adversary. We all love the church, and we all wish to serve. Theologian Anthony Padova said, let me see, he said this, okay then. Speakers at the forum include Ruth Fitzpatrick of Women's Ordination Council, the Reverend William Smarth, okay, so anyways.
And Bill Callahan, who's coming here any minute.
Bill Callahan is already...
Out, but he was part of that.
Bill Callahan is here with us.
Oh, is he here?
No. Isn't he? Oh, he's not here.
Bill
Thompson is here. Okay.
Yeah,
right. I don't know who I have and what I'm doing. No, but this is listen to this group here, guys. Catholic Organizations for Renewal. Here are some of the groups. Active Priests for Married Priesthood, Association of Chicago Priests, Association of Pittsburgh Priests, Association for the Rights of Catholics in the Church, Call to Action.
That's my group.
That's Bill Thompson. Yeah. He's here.
By the way, Jan, some people would say Catholics don't have any rights in the church. They really would seriously believe that. A lot of these kids here believe that.
Well, you don't have any rights. The Pope runs the church, right?
No, dead wrong.
Okay.
That's what we'd like to tell you.
Well, okay. I mean, you have rights in America. We have rights. We have the right to vote. We have the right to dissent. We have the right to disagree. In the Catholic Church, you don't have the right to dissent, do you?
No, you really do.
Unless you're a cardinal?
No, you really do. And it's even in the Code of Canon Law, which is the church law books. There's a lot in the church law books protecting the right of every believer, every baptized member of the church to have something to say. And so what our groups are clamoring for is for the Pope and some of the bishops that he has appointed to take that seriously and to listen to people. Just take for example an issue like birth control. Now, the Pope is continuing to go around the world, and say that artificial contraception is a no-no for Catholics. Almost 90% of American Catholics, every poll shows this, have buried that issue long ago. That's something that the married couple's going to decide on their own. Okay?
You start saying things like that in Central America or in Mexico, and you have a gigantic overpopulation of people, children that are abandoned that people don't care about.
Okay,
that's almost irresponsible.
Well, it is, and this Pope used his considerable clout at the Earth Summit in Rio in June of 1992 to get all of those delegates, 151 nations, to not talk about contraception at the Earth Summit because the Vatican twisted their arm and said, we don't want you talking about that. And some of the most populous countries in the world are heavily Catholic, like Brazil.
We should get him on the... He should be here.
John Paul?
To answer this.
Well, that's right. But,
speak,
but
but
my point is...
He might. How do you know? I mean, my impression of him was he was pretty ready to engage. He engaged Bill Clinton today. He was engaging... You know, I mean, unless you think that's all public relations.
We do. I mean,
yeah,
I do.
I mean, personally, I mean, I'm always ready to let somebody have a change of heart. But the man is 73 years old. His track record in the 15 years he's been Pope has not been that when he makes his 60 out of Italy trips that he does a whole lot of listening. He primarily goes to the various nations of the world to tell those nations what they are supposed to be doing and thinking, and not to listen to what they may be struggling with in trying to believe that.
Look at the AIDS crisis, Jan.
Wait, hang on for a minute.
Yeah.
We'll come back to the AIDS crisis for a minute, but we need to take this point by point. First of all, I tell you what's going through my mind. The Pope needs to be here to answer to this. And,
invite him.
Well, where is he?
He's in Estes Park.
No, is he in Estes
Well,
Park?
he will go there if he hasn't.
No, he's going to.
Where is he tonight?
He's going to have. I don't know where he's staying.
I mean, you're talking to the mother of all talk show hosts. I'm the guy who has. I have presidents on.
Call the Cathedral Rectory and see if he's sleeping there.
Okay, Lane, let's do this. What's the name of the church?
Immaculate Conception Basilica. It's probably listed in the directory that way.
Immaculate Conception Basilica. Lane, let's find the number for that. Okay, let's dial him up. And I want to talk to him live on the air. Let's get him on the interview line. So the Immaculate Conception Basilica.
Right.
And the Pope's sleeping where?
He's either there or he's in Estes Park, but I suspect
he doesn't go to Estes Park till tomorrow.
Okay.
So he's going to have mass with all the bishops in the morning.
Okay, we'll let Lane, when you get the number, let me know, okay? And then we'll dial it up on the air, and because I think that the man deserves the right to answer to these claims.
It might be called Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception.
All right.
Can I talk about AIDS? Here's a major scandal, and don't forget the scandal about excluding women and making them third-class citizens. AIDS can be limited, as we all know, by use of condoms. But condoms also are a type of contraception. So our church has come down on the idea of more dead people with AIDS, but we aren't going to have any limitation on babies. And that's a terrible thing. I've talked to our bishop here, who at one time said to me in so many words that he believed that AIDS was a sin, was a punishment for the sin of those who, homosexuals largely at that time.
Does he still believe that?
I haven't asked him, but I hope not. I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, but why not? I mean, let's look at it this way. Let's look at the numbers. AIDS is spread largely by homosexuals. I mean, to a high degree.
Not in Africa.
And in fact, the man what?
Not in Africa.
Well, not anymore in Africa, but it was initially.
It's increasingly becoming an illness among heterosexuals.
But it's true. But guys, I mean, even the man who wrote "And the Band Plays On" came out and said just about a month ago that he called for homosexual men to have abstinence, and I've said this on this show. I mean, I've looked at the numbers. If you want to stop the AIDS epidemic, gay men need to stop having sex, and the damn thing will go away in
about a year.
What
about the needle users?
Well, I mean, but the homosexuals are like 80% of the AIDS victims.
Actually, it's shrinking. But my point is not
no,
the homosexuals.
No. But you can't escape from that. And I'm not here to condemn homosexuals, but I am telling you that maybe Bishop Stafford's not half wrong if 80% of the victims with AIDS are homosexuals and they're having anal sex. Well, it's like if you were to say to me, Jan, you know, if you cannot eat strawberries anymore for the rest of your life. You eat strawberries, you are going to die a horrible death. I'm going to look at you and I'm going to go, Tom, right, no more strawberries, no problem.
Jan, I'll bet the bishop is sleeping in the next room. You might ask him, get him on the phone too. But let me tell you what's really moving this organization.
You just avoided what I had to say.
Well, I think
on a logical level, he could be right.
I think you're off on a digression, at least from what we're working on. It's the lack of participation by women in the church, which is the major scandal now. Now that communism is gone, what they have to do is attack what they call feminism, and they call it the American disease. This Pope really believes the women around the rest of the world don't care about their rights in the church. And you will find that American Catholic women are as angry as any group has ever seen because they finally realized how they've been discriminated against.
With that, we will continue here in about 3 minutes. We're talking with Tom Kerwin. That's the last voice you just heard. Catholic organization for renewal called CORE. And Bill Thompson is here with us. He's with Call to Action. Dissenting Catholics. And they say that there are a lot of you, too. 935-7100. Let's hear from you if you want to talk about what we're talking about. Or 1-800-533-0071. I'm Jann Scott. This is KNUS.
Denver Jeep Eagle's downtown location. Now, there's a different kind of a place to take your car. They can handle the biggest service problem your car or truck might have. A new engine, a rebuild, transmission problems, doesn't matter how big. But what makes them different is yet another philosophy. They also major in minor things. They major in minor things. Electrical problems, a darn good tune-up, or how about a thorough detailing? They have a few rules at Denver Jeep Eagle, but they're all in your favor. For instance, you'll be treated with absolute courtesy. Your service work will be performed with genuine expertise and professionalism, and priced fairly. You'll even be delivered to work in the downtown area, and they also offer, of course, a huge rental fleet at discount prices, and an amazing variety of top-flight used cars. Denver Jeep Eagle, downtown, at 1330 West Alameda, 871-0305. You're gonna love them.
Tom Jensen with Karen Kennedy and Jim Turner Sports. AM 710's The Edge does.
The Pope. I'll continue covering World Youth Day events as they unfold.
And listen up, you Catholics who don't want to have your marriages annulled before remarrying.
The Edge has the answer.
Along with Hit and Get, alternative talk radio.
And comment of the day, something you say so profound, unique, funny, that it will be repeated over and over and over.
3 to 6 afternoons, The Edge, AM 710, the all-new KNUS Denver.
And AM 1130, the all-new KHTH Dillon Breckenridge.
Welcome back, if you please, the man who owns nighttime talk radio in Denver. It's Jann the Man Scott, with interesting guests from all around America and callers like you on the Front Range. Talk right now with Jann at 935-7100, statewide, long-distance, toll-free, 1-800-533-0071.
All right, we continue here talking with Bill Thompson, Call to Action. He's a former priest, dropped out after 13 years of being a priest, and couldn't take it anymore. Couldn't take the restrictive rules and regulations in the Catholic Church. And is it painful? Was it painful for you to leave the priesthood? I mean, would you? Is it painful even right now?
No, it was painful at the time, but I have found a way, and a lot of my married priest friends have found a way to continue to work for the kind of church we believe in while living married life and family life and making our living in other ways.
Do you go to a church?
Yeah, I'm real active in my parish.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean in your parish?
I belong to a parish church.
Okay.
We just had a baby in January. She was baptized in April, and
he used to pass the basket. Now he puts money in it.
Yeah, I sing in my church choir, and I give adult education talks from time to time.
Now you have a priest who is the head of the church.
Yeah, we have a pastor and an associate pastor. We also have about 13 married priests like myself in the congregation with their wives and kids.
Are they sympathetic to you guys?
Yeah, sure.
Of course you wouldn't be going there, right?
Right.
If they were shaking their hands at you,
That's
don't
right.
do what these guys did.
Jan, I think we're working towards that parish of Bill's electing their next pastor, and then the people of the diocese electing their next bishop. And then the bishops really electing the pope, all the bishops of the world electing the next pope. But that's the way it used to be. And it takes a long memory to remember it. But so we see all these changes coming, and I think we're very optimistic about it. But the beautiful thing is, I mentioned to you this organization has an S on it, Catholic Organizations for Renewal. So you'll find a wide difference. For example, on some issues, we have three groups over here that disagree with these two over here, and that's fine. We work together on issues we can.
But the common bond of all 33 groups in Catholic Organizations for Renewal is a common belief that the church ought to be a home for diversity, not a home for uniformity. That if there's any place that people ought to be able to freely express a variety of opinions and not get squelched, it's in the house of Christianity. It's in the church.
Who do I want to, excuse me, we're going to have a side conversation here now, folks. Who do I want to talk to? What do you mean?
I'm going to call that number.
Oh.
Pope John Paul II.
Yeah, just let it ring. We'll,
or Archbishop Stafford.
Let it ring over the air. I'll talk to him.
Okay. You'll probably get the Secret Service.
You punch it up and I'll, oh, we could. That'd be interesting. We'd be the first radio talk show host arrested for harassing a pope.
There is an effort being made in a giant public relations campaign to depict what's happening here in Denver as typical of the Church of the United States.
Okay,
it ain't true.
Hang on for a second. He's dialing this up. Lane, let's hear you. Let it ring, and I'll take it from there. You can put headphones on here if you want to, guys. It's busy. Okay. Well, when it's unbusy, let us know. They probably knew we were going to call them. Well, I'm having a hard time with this conversation because do you think the Pope is dishonest?
The Church is dishonest. The Vatican is.
Yeah,
I don't accuse this gentleman of being.
The Pope is very sincere. He's not dishonest at all, but he's part of a system which unfortunately treats people very dishonestly. If you are if you dissent from some of the issues of the items that he holds dear, then the church will treat you very shabbily.
Let's start with them one at a time. What are some of the issues?
Can I give an example?
Well, hang on. Let Bill talk here. What are some of the issues?
That women are equal members of the church along with men, and that they should have access to the priesthood the same as men.
Oh, he would disagree with that.
Yeah, he would disagree with that, and he contends that Jesus Christ himself never intended for women to be priests. But
now the Protestants, if you go into the right-wing fundamentalist, Protestantism, they basically believe the very same thing. Women should not be pastors of a church.
Right.
And in fact, I talk to preachers who think that women should be chattel. They should be owned.
Yeah.
That God is, that the only one who has the right to lead the church and lead the family spiritually is the man.
Most of those fundamentalist evangelical Protestant groups, a lot of them in Colorado Springs, have decided not to come here and protest the Pope. Why? Because they agree with him on all these issues. Our church,
except for the
today,
fact that he's the Antichrist.
Well,
in fact, do you guys think he's the Antichrist?
No.
But
well, we had one of those guys in here.
Yeah, well, they're all types, as you know, Jen. But we don't smash many windows. But we do represent an amazingly high percentage. Probably 40 million Catholics are represented by the two people you're talking to tonight. And out here in Mile High Stadium, they probably represent 6 million Catholics. I tell you, that's measured by the Gallup poll and many others. So there's a big public relations campaign to try to reassert authority.
So one tenet is that you want women to be equal with men in the church.
Right.
All right. I don't see that doesn't even happen hardly in the Catholic Church. In the Protestant churches, Presbyterians, United Methodists.
Oh, absolutely, sure.
Well,
and
except
today
there's still
in the Episcopal churches.
Yeah, a lot of the other Protestant churches are ordaining women, but it's true that because when you talk to those ordained women and even ordained women bishops in churches like the Episcopal Church, women still are not treated as full equals. So those churches still have a ways to go.
935-7100. Okay, women as equals and women as priests. What's another one that he's not going to...
I'd like to tell a justice story
go ahead,
because
sir.
This is of concern to
Tom
us.
Kerwin.
We had Reverend Smarth over there last evening. By the way, we held our meeting at the Lutheran Church, which I thought was historic and important. And we were asked why.
Isn't that satanic?
No, it's not satanic. It was practical. We knew that if we had one of our friends, a Catholic pastor, give us a place to hold the meeting, the pressure would be put on through the Vatican on the bishop, and then we'd cancel our meeting.
The Pope said today, and I quote, he said we're all Christians, but we are of different churches, but we are all one. We are all of one faith. I mean, he basically lumped everybody together and said that all Christians basically are good, headed down the same road. It's a far cry from what used to be said, that is, if you were Protestant and you didn't belong to the Catholic Church, you were going to hell, or vice versa.
You're talking about ecumenical cooperation, and a lot of you were, if you were to ask Reverend Gil Horn here, who was the Council of Churches president, he's very discouraged, and so are many Protestants, that ecumenism has gone the wrong direction with this Vatican. No, I wanted to tell you about Haiti, Jan. Reverend Smarth was out there last evening, who's a very close friend and associate of President Aristide, who was a Catholic priest. Aristide was going to come. He's almost back to Haiti, not quite so. Reverend Smarth told us in great detail about how the Vatican was the only nation-state that recognized the people who overthrew Aristide. Aristide was elected, he's a Catholic priest, by 80% of the people of Haiti. All the other nations, the United States, all the other Central and Latin American nations, refused. They boycotted this overthrow. But who represented him? Who was there? The Catholic Church. The Vatican sent a nuncio. That's a disgrace. And of course, what they said is, we can't be saying excellency to this man who is a priest. We are bishops. And that's an example of justice that is not being served by our church.
Well, what's I mean, I can understand him coming from Poland, being a man of 73 years old.
That has a lot to do with it, by the way.
You know, being a Polish Catholic, and the kind of respect, et cetera, that he demands, and the men around him, the cardinals. I mean, they're all pretty old dudes, right? Are they?
You bet.
For the most part, yeah.
But age doesn't necessarily
so they're all old.
Require that.
But they're all old European types.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife feels his attitude is somewhat based on the fact that he never had a mother. His mother died when he was 3, and he grew up in a very strange setting, and he brings a very limited approach and attempts to impose it on the whole church.
But look what he did. I mean, you know, what about the pact between the Pope and President Reagan? The secret pact that supposedly has taken place. I mean, he backed Wałęsa. The Poland was the first communist bloc country to go. I mean, some people are crediting him with, you know, the collapse of the evil empire.
Well, you know what the trading card for that was? That Reagan would agree not to seek United Nations support for family planning around the rest of the world, and the United States did withdraw any money for that, and has prevented. I mean, that's a sinful thing for the Pope to have traded that for some political advantage in Poland.
Did that really happen?
You bet.
Yeah, but I wouldn't take away at all from the Pope his enormous leadership in bringing freedom to Poland. I think that he and the Vatican did play a crucial role, and he's to be given a lot of credit for that. What we're talking about here is, why can't we have the same kind of freedom and democratic participation inside the church that the Pope so valiantly struggled for in civil society in his home country of Poland? You know, he thinks that the church ought to be handled like a different sphere. You know, we should have democratic process in governments, in labor unions, in the workplace, in every other setting. But when you come to the church, no democratic process there, because here we have a hierarchy. The truth comes down from the top, the bishop to the pastor, down to the people.
You say that it has not always been that way. It used to be different.
Absolutely.
Not since I was alive.
Well, no, but wait. I mean,
we were started that way with John the 23rd.
All right, let's do this. Okay, we'll be back. We'll continue with Tom Kerwin, Catholic Organization for Renewal, and Bill Thompson. Call to action 935-7100. I'm Jann Scott. This is the talk station KNUS.
Well, you done mess up a good thing, the best you ever.
Hi, Denver. This is Ken Hamblin. In today's world, things aren't what they used to be. Why, for years, we paid our taxes to the government only to discover they were, well, contributions. You don't have to go to Washington to learn that, though. For instance, there are businesses that call themselves service stations. Today, you pull into one of those places, and heck, you're on your own. Unless, of course, you pull into Dick's Amico. Stopping in here is, well, like a step back into the past when the customer was king. Dick's features courteous attendants in white shirts and ties, and fully trained technicians with the tools and the skills to fix your car. And that's why they recently won the award for top service station in the U.S. Today, it's hard to know who to trust. but you can put your trust in Dick's Amico, Denver's true service station for more than 25 years at 1465 South Colorado Boulevard in Inglewood at the northeast corner of I-25 and Arapahoe Road. Dick's Amico Station. Check it out.
Hi, I'm Pierre Wolf, inviting you to join me every Saturday afternoon from 2 till 4 p.m. Fascinating guests from our community, the world of food, and travel. Light, entertaining, and oftentimes rewarding. It's your chance to relax and enjoy. Saturdays, 2 to 4 p.m. with me, Pierre Wolf, only heard here on AM 710, the all-new KNUS, and AM 1130, the all-new KHTH Dillon Breckenridge.
How do you like tonight's show? Write your best, funniest, most outrageous, praising, or insulting letter on tonight's show and win a dinner for two if Jan reads your letter on the air. Write as many and as often as you like to Letters to Jan, KNUS Radio, 5800 West Alameda, Lakewood, Colorado 80226. And now we return to tonight's Late Night Talkmaster. It's Jann Scott at 935-7100 or 1-800-533-0071.
Go ahead. I was just sharing, my own conversion in 1987. In fact, I'll share this with you as you're listening. I haven't done this actually in a while on the radio, but I had an experience in 1980. I think it was around 86, where I had gotten divorced, and it was about 3 months down the road, and I started to pray again because I had been in a lot of pain. And one night at around 3 in the morning, I had a visitation by the Holy Spirit. I woke up, and the entire room was aglow, and I felt completely different. I didn't feel the emotional pain that I had felt. And it was God who had come into my life and said that I had been healed, that my prayers were answered. And I asked him what I should do, and he said to find out as much as I could about Jesus and to follow him. And prior to that, I had been raised a Catholic, but had stopped going to church. I hadn't been to church in 15 years or so. And I then sought out other churches to go to. The thing I noticed when I got up the next day, that my life had changed. I didn't feel the emotional and physical pain that I had felt, for the past several months. And in fact, this feeling of being healed continued for several weeks. And people would come up to me and they'd say, "What happened to you? You're not the same guy." And I couldn't really tell them. And then I finally found some churches that understood me. They turned out to be Protestant charismatic church, where there was a lot of healing and prayer, and these people were, something had happened to them also. But then the unbelievable rules started to come down, and I thought, these people, they're not doing what I would. I don't think this is what God is about here.
You're kind of a prophet, not only having had that experience, but being able to sit here and tell about it, because a lot of people are sharing your feelings when they hear what you say. And you're describing a situation that this Vatican is very upset with, which is that Hispanics, not only here in Colorado, but in Latin America, are in droves turning to a charismatic church that they feel is more in tune with their needs, and turning away from their original heritage as Catholics. And it is because they find something there that they don't find in this newly rule-driven, turn back the clock type of Vatican Church.
I had a girlfriend who was Catholic, who I probably wouldn't have married. I would have married, but we went to the church that she was going to, and the priest that was there said, I have to tell you, I can't buy that this guy is the only connection to Christ and the church. This is not doing it for me, and neither is he. And our relationship actually came to an end around that. It wasn't, kind of a mean ending, but it was an ending. And
this is a subject you got to walk on with eggshells, because to the individual, his religion or her religion is a terribly important emotional thing, and most people don't look at it with an intellectual analysis. It's important who's there when someone's sick or when there's a person dying. And so we don't mean to ever say your religion or the people out in Mile High Stadium's religion is not entirely right and proper for them. We just don't want them imposing it on everybody else. We feel our coalition, this group, is an example of how the lion can lie down with the lamb.
The Catholic Church that I'm yearning for and working for, a renewed Catholic Church, would be a home for someone like you after you had had that spiritual experience. And there are Catholic parishes and Catholic communities where, I mean, they're just not around where you live.
I haven't
you know.
seen any.
No, I know.
I mean, I have not yet had
There's
one
3 in
person come
Denver.
up to me and say, Jan, there's this really, hip priest, and this church is pretty far out.
There's 3 in Denver where you'd feel really comfortable.
But the other thing is, Jan, and this, we're all creatures of our own upbringing. You're speaking out of your memory of the Catholic Church that you knew growing up, where it's sort of all hung on what kind of a priest do they have. I'm looking for a parish. I'm looking for the churches of tomorrow where it doesn't all depend on what kind of priest you have.
And I must tell you, as a child, up until maybe 16, 17, 18 years old, right in there, it worked for me. I mean, there was, and I made kind of an inventory. I wrote about my relationship with Christ and with the church, and especially around my experiences of prayer and talking to Jesus and that kind of stuff, to see, okay, what's real and what's not here. And one of the things, when I wrote this inventory, which came out to maybe be 40 or 50 pages, I realized that there was some kind of almost purity or sacredness about my communication with God as a child. Okay, I mean, everything from the Holy Communion to all the stuff that happened. Even when I went to a school where we went to Mass every morning. Okay, it wasn't required, but we did.
And the fish on Friday and the singing the May
No,
songs.
this was a non-secular school, but there were some Catholic teachers that anybody that wanted to go to Mass in the morning. And my life was pretty insane, so one place of peace and quiet and solace was at 7 o'clock Mass. Because that was between myself and God. The priest just served the Mass, and it was over. That worked pretty well, and also in high school. But I don't know where the changes. Well, actually, the changes came after I started to take drugs. But then when I decided to seek God again, I thought,